What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. The Shifting Sands update for Dungeon Defenders 2 is live on PC and PS4 and will be on Xbox soon. Now, let's go ahead and dive right on into the patch notes and check them out. Now, of course, as revealed already, we've got the new region, the Tornado Valley. This is the Tornado Valley, now renamed to Tornado Canyon for DD2, and the Tornado Highlands maps from Dungeon Defenders Awakened. Now, these two maps bring the new regions. They also bring new weapons. Taking a look at the Tornado Canyon, you get the Ancient Robot Arm, the Tuscan Rifle, the Ancient Water Boiler, the Clockwork Sword, the Staff of Sands, and then you get plain, shiny, or pristine talismans depending on the difficulty you're playing. For Tornado Highlands, we're going to have the new Genie King boss fight, and here you're going to get the corrupted weapons. Corrupted Oculus, the Tome of Corruption, Corrupted Axe, the Spear of Corruption, Corrupted Bow, Dagger, the Genie Prince Pet, a Corrupted Genie Prince Pet, and then plain, shiny, or pristine talismans, of course, depending on your difficulty. Now, the novelty with these new weapons from the new zones, so these weapons from both maps, is they pierce enemies. So these weapons are not going to be the big single target DPS weapons that you're going to look to for boss killing. You're going to want Ember Mount weapons for those. However, these are the awesome lane clearers. There's a few of them that stand out that have very nice shot types on it. For one, the Water Boiler for the EV, and then the Corrupted Bow for the Huntress. Both of these have awesome shots, and they do pierce enemies. Now, of course, the biggest benefit here is going to be, in my opinion, on ranged heroes, as you're going to be able to spray through an entire pack on a lane. Now, we're going to have to see how this pairs with things like Frostfire Remnants as far as lane clearing goes. It could be quite powerful. Now, there are region-specific mods. These mods are going to drop from the victory chest, or have a chance to drop from the victory chest on a win. We got Canyon Bells. Enemies on death have a % chance to spawn a bell that does a percentage of your ability power as damage to all nearby enemies every second for 3 seconds, and stuns them for 2 seconds. This effect can only occur once every 2 seconds. We got the Cyclostrophic Wind. Your attacks generate 1 tornado stack. At 5 stacks, you launch a tornado forward, dealing a percentage of your ability power as damage to up to 10 enemies and sending them airborne. So you get a little bit of a tornado attack from the Apprentice on any hero. You got the Genie King's Curse. Now, this one I'm quite curious about. While moving below 100 speed, your primary attacks deal a percentage of your hero damage stat as earth damage. I'm very curious about this one, if it's going to be enough damage for a hero like the Monk, as a lot of times you're going to boost and you're going to be standing still on the Monk for a moment while you start to fire. And then this one, once again, coming back around to the Monk. You guys know I love my Monkage. The Genie's Protection. Right now, the Monk has serious survivability issues. Even with 3 million health, the Monk can just instantly get burned. It's absolutely awful. This may be the answer to that. After using an ability, gain a movement speed and reduce the damage you take by a percentage for 3 seconds. Now, the reason I say the Monk is, of course, you're going to be constantly throwing your hero boost up on the Monk. So you're going to have a lot of uptime on this damage reduction. So this could be a best-in-slot mod for survivability on many heroes, but the Monk particularly. The Owl God's Wisdom. Your primary attacks deal a percentage of your ability power as extra damage. This extra damage can trigger once every 0.1 seconds per enemy hit. Blinding Sand. Your attacks have a 15% chance to spawn a ball of sand on impact that deal a percentage of your hero damage as earth damage, and slow movement speed and attack speed to all nearby. Now, this one too could be very nice, as this could be adding earth damage in. Combine this with a Ring of Poison, you got yourself a Petrify combo. This could be pretty darn good. The Sand Path. Projectile attacks that hit the ground leave up to 3 patches of sand that deal a percentage of your ability power and reduce enemy movement speed. Each patch lasts Z seconds, so that's going to be determined by the mod quality. And then Sandstorm generates a sandstorm around you that consistently deals a percentage of your hero damage as earth damage to nearby enemies. Now we've got the region-specific pets. We got the Genie Prince with that Mana Swirl. Restores 500 ability mana. Now it's important to note, ability mana, not building mana. So this is not going to be like DD1 where you're going to be able to full upgrade all your stuff right away. The Corrupted Genie Prince has a magical burst where it fires 5 magical bursts, dealing 335% magical hero damage each. This will be another novelty ranged damage pet. Could be fun. We'll have to play with one and check it out. Now the new region-specific enemy is the Windshaper. The Windshapers have spent years training to master control over the air, allowing them to send devastating tornadoes towards players that pierce and knock up players in their path. Be warned, though, they are not as frail as they may seem, and we will not be defeated so quickly. These guys are quite tanky, no doubt. And then, of course, the new boss, the Genie King. I'll be putting out a how-to video on this one, hopefully later today. Deep within Tornado Highlands lies the Lamp of a Familiar Flow, but it has been entirely corrupted by the Old One's magic. The iteration of the Genie King can inflict a variety of crippling debuffs with its attacks, so be careful. For those that don't know, that didn't play DD1, this is a boss from Dungeon Defenders 1. Then, of course, there is some hero reworks, which we covered already. The hero reworks, 2 things it's going to do. First off, it's going to make these heroes more unique and not just a gender swap, meaning the Initiate and the Adept. With that in mind, oh yeah, the price is going up, y'all. There's no more freebies. They're on sale right now, so these heroes are going to be available for 8,000 Defender Medals or 1,000 Gems for the moment, for the next 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks up, they're going to full cost. So if you don't have an Initiate or Adept, now would be the time to get one while they're only 8,000 Defender Medals. Yeah, price is going up. The Initiate now has a Firework Cannon, which this one is pretty darn cool. It replaces the Boost Aura, shoots up to 3 fireworks at different enemies within range, dealing damage in a large area. You've got the Concentrated Pyrotechnic Shard, increases the damage of Firework Cannon by a percentage, but increases the damage fall off by 50%. Meaning the Firework Cannon is going to hit harder, however, the damage fall off on the AoE explosion is going to be a bit more severe. Chi Spirit Tower replaces the Skyguard Tower. Now this is a ground or flying tower. A spectral copy of the Initiate fires piercing Chi waves that damage and cripple enemies. These are going to increase the enemy's damage taken. The Spirit Shard is going to be available, increases the damage of the Chi Spirit Tower by a percentage, and increases the projectile size by a percentage. So this shard is a win-win on both sides. You're going to have nothing but benefit out of the Chi Spirit Shard, or pardon me, the Spirit Charge Shard if you choose to use the Chi Spirit Tower. Then we got the Frost Strikes Aura, replaces the Lightning Strikes Aura, deals powerful frost damage to a single enemy within its radius. Enemies killed by the Frost Strikes Aura explode, dealing a percentage of Frost Aura's defense damage as frost damage. Now, this is the shard you'll want to use if you want to use this for crowd control. The Lightning Strike or Frost Strikes Aura are hard-hitting single-target defenses, so they are going to get some kills. With that in mind, when they do get a kill, that enemy is going to explode and is going to do that area frost damage, and that will make this particular tower slightly more viable for the crowd control associated with the freeze combo. And then we've got Lingering Frostfire. This is a mod. Enemies suffer a percentage of extra water damage every second for a certain amount of seconds when hit by Frost Strike's Aura. Now, with this being water damage, I would assume it's going to drench enemies, which additionally would just auto-proc the freeze combo if the Frost Strike's Aura strikes that enemy again. However, we'll have to test this out and see for sure. Now, without a doubt, in my opinion, the shiniest change of all of the changes here is on the Adept. The Tesla Coil Tower, the Lightning Tower from Dungeon Defenders 1, is a thing of renown and glory. There's just no doubt about it. In no game will the Lightning Tower ever be as good as it is in Dungeon Defenders 1. However, we do have it now in the form of the Tesla Coil in DD2. This is going to replace the Arcane Barrier. It's going to generate arcing electricity that chains to multiple targets at once. You're going to have a new shard for this one. Enemy hit by the Tesla Coil take additional damage, but move faster. And then the Ramping Voltage mod, which I think this mod may end up being a no-brainer. The Tesla Coil deals more damage as it strikes enemies, up to a maximum of a percentage of extra damage. The damage increase resets after not attacking for 5 seconds. Equally cool, but not quite as cool, is the Crystal Hammer. This is going to replace the Earth Shatter Tower, slams the ground, sending a line of damaging crystalline spikes forward and hitting all enemies in a line. The Crystal Fissure Shard, we were able to show this one off on the teaser. This one increases the width of the Crystal Hammer's attack by 50% and increases the defense power by a percentage as well. Next up, we have the Mystic. The Mystic has some new appeasement tiers. At 1% or higher appeasement, the Mystic is going to get a 20% buff to ability power and hero damage, damage vulnerability, and then a 20% buff to tower damage for any of the Mystic's towers that are available. This is similar to the old appeasement buff that was there. However, it's a lot more clear, and just having any appeasement at all is going to activate these buffs. At 25% appeasement, the Mystic's attacks are going to have lifesteal. Lifesteal is just good. Survivability is an issue in endgame in DD2, and lifesteal is just going to help that out even more. At 50% or more appeasement, the basic attacks lower the Mystic's active cooldowns, meaning you're going to get free cooldown reduction here when using your basic attacks. And then at 100% appeasement, you get an AoE damage buff that deals 1000 ability power damage every second, 1.5 times movement speed, and basic attacks make enemies take 10% more damage for 3 seconds. I think the biggest win on the 100% appeasement is this debuff on the enemies, making them take more damage. The Lash Out ability was changed. The damage on it was increased by 200%. Call to Madness, of course, now has a 10 target limit. It reduces the range of Call to Madness by 70%, increases the cooldown from 20 seconds to 30 seconds, reduces the duration from 8.1 to 4.1, reduces the Madness Embrace duration from 4.6 to 3.2, and reduced debilitating Madness damage taken from 66 to 20. So Call to Madness was, without a doubt, as lots of you already know, the strongest crowd control in the game. This is a straight up nerf bat right to the face. Call to Madness is not going to be what it was before. However, it will still be usable and worth running on the Mystic. Now, Dark Torment is going to got a damage buff, increases damage from 40 to 80. The cooldown on it was reduced. While the dagger is impaled inside an enemy, all Mystic damage is increased by 50%. Meaning, you're going to want to use Dark Torment if you're actively DPSing on the Mystic. Just going to want to do it. So as long as you have that dagger inside the enemy, you get a 50% damage buff. That is just huge. Increase Dark Torment's tower damage multiplier by 600%. Increase Dark Torment tower number of beams from 1 to 3. And then removed Sand Vipers target enemies affected by Dark Torment. So you're no longer going to be able to get your Sand Vipers to all chain to one target using Dark Torment. However, Dark Torment got a pretty nice buff, particularly regarding Mystic damage themselves. Serpent Coil now allows as many Serpent Coils to be placed as DU allows. It added collisions so they can be damaged by enemies, and they can now be upgraded like regular towers. Snaking Sands detach damage from the stun, so Snaking Sands can still damage enemies affected by Elder Wyverns or Headstrong, buff damage by 50%. So Previously, the snaking sands did no damage until the stun went off, pardon me. Now it is no longer attached to the stun and will be doing damage, and more damage as it did get a buff. Sand Vipers increase the base number of beams from 1 to 3. Beam ramping damage now properly scales with upgrades. Viper's Fangs, damage dealt by this tower, has been moved from the bubble pop and rain effects to the initial hit. The bubble attack also slightly knocks enemies back in addition to its knock-up effect. The Obelisk removed upgrade and appeasement requirements from Obelisk buffs to simplify its usage. Removed the Flamethrower aspect at max appeasement, removed the Confuse buff, removed the knock-up buff, so the Obelisk no longer has the crowd control. The Smite, however, does give a 20% chance to polymorph enemies hit into snakes still. Smite damage was increased, and snake polymorph damage was increased as well. The Obelisk is just a go-to tower as long as empowering blasphemy is a thing. It's definitely a tower you're going to want to throw in wherever you can. The Snake Zealot ship reworked due to being made irrelevant by the Serpent's Coil. The Snake Zealot ship now is the Serpent Avatar. The Serpent Avatar summoned by the Mystic at max appeasement deals a percentage more damage. And then a new talent, Poison Damage. Dark Torment and Lash Out, poison damage increased by a percentage. Now the Series EV2, this one's going to be fun to play around with as well, has got a new passive. The Series EV2 can now double jump and hover, so you can get a lot more mobility out of your EV. Bunny Hop Shard, of course, no longer works now, as the EV gets the double jump for free. Anti-gravity bots now home towards enemies exploding on contact. This is super, super cool. However, does it just have cool factor, or does it have effectiveness? We're going to have to test it out and see for ourselves. The Holographic Decoy replaces Death from Above. The EV2 now leaps backwards instead of shooting up in the air, leaving a decoy behind that taunts enemies for a few seconds. As it expires, the decoy explodes and damages nearby enemies. The decoy is, or looks like it's going to be quite powerful now. And then the Aerial Mastery Shard, reworked with Death from Above being replaced. The new effect increases movement speed while flying. So the Dryad can use this shard as well. You know, who doesn't want to fly faster? Just kind of a natural. The Lavamancer, their secondary attack is now going to pierce through enemies. Inflame and Harden is now a single ability that is a buff. Tectonic Breaker is reworked with a new effect. While buffed, deal a percentage armor stat as earth damage and a percentage of hero damage as fire damage every third primary attack. And then Charged Restoration. Charged secondary attacks restore mana can only activate once per second. There's some balance. The Starfall Dryad will now pierce shields, reduce Ring of Fire damage on hit from 60% to 30%, and added a Burning Strikes type effect that scales off of hero damage. Removed blockade requirements from health and power pylon. This right here is huge, y'all. For those that don't have Destructive Pylon yet, you get a free one out of Power Pylon. The no blockade requirement, you can now throw Power Pylon on any defense. Piercing Shot consumes all mana and damage, but also scales off of the mana consumed. So the more mana consumed, the more damage it will do. Increase Piercing Shot damage by 238%. Change the Nimbus to a small AoE rather than single target. This could be quite fun to play with as well, as the Nimbus Tower is super cool to use. Adding a small AoE effect is not great, but better than a single target for sure. And then the following shards have had their scaling change from defense power to defense damage. Explosive Surprise, Lateral Blast, Heavy Cannonball, Explosive Arrows, Mega Rock, Glacier, Splody Harpoon, Oily Harpoon, Snakes on a Plane, and Combined Power. I think I'm most interested in checking out the Explosive Arrows one on this one, but we'll play around with all of those and see what is effective and what's not. There's some new Onslaught mutators for those of you that are still doing Onslaught, and then some new skins. 4 new skins added. There's a look at those 4. You know, in my opinion, I think this Apprentice skin looks the coolest. You know, of course, we'll all have our favorite there, but I think that one would be my personal favorite. The Wind Guardian Lavamancer skin, the Clockwork Squire skin. That one actually kind of looks cool too. Gives the Squire a little steampunk kind of feel to him. And then the Scarab Lord Abyss Lord. This one, not so much. It's just a skin. With new skins, of course, means new bundles. You can get for 1,400 gems the Ancient Sands bundle, which is going to include the Scarab Lord and the Wind Guardian skins. The Desert Conquerors bundle, which is going to include the Marauder Apprentice and the Clockwork Squire. I think for me personally, that will be the bundle for me, as those are the two best looking skins, in my opinion, out of the 4 new ones. The Wind Guardian bundle includes the Lavamancer and the Wind Guardian skin, and then the Scarab Lord bundle. Miscellaneous changes. Player shops are now back, so the exploit was fixed, and players are able to trade once again. The Golden Mask has replaced the Golden Top Hat, so it is here. See, yet another solid gold cranial accessory in the Golden Mask. If you have more gold you know what to do with, the mask is for you. As a bonus, the Golden Mask hides your tears that you're surely crying after paying that much gold. That is fair. And then, you know, there is no bugs in DD2, but there was a huge slew of bug fixes here. There is a look at those. We're not going to go through each one individually. Now, that is it for this update. So, we got some new stuff to do. We got some new weapons to farm, some new pets to get, and a new boss to kill. So, let's see how much fun we can get out of the Shifting Sands update for Dungeon Defenders 2. But it is here. It may be on Xbox by the time this video gets published, but as of recording, it is live on PC and PlayStation. That will do it for now. Thanks a ton for watching. There will be a link to the patch notes down in the description if you want to go check them out yourself. But thanks again, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.